Sampath, second question coming out from UAE. She's Rebecca. She's an MBA student from Sampath University studying from UAE, and she's asking, are you, Mr. Sampath, could you kindly let us know what is your interpretation of the brain drain happening, and does this, is this happening in your company at hSenid?
Yes, this is a common problem everywhere. It's happening. If you look at the current labor turnover rate, or the skill turnover rate, is actually, I would say, 3 times higher than a usual rate, or at least double. Any company in IT industry, not only IT industry, even banking industry and many high skill industries, this is happening. So this you can't avoid in short term, because people have already applied for migration visa or in the process of applying. Now, simple example, today I got requisition in our recruitment portal, one employee want to move into business analyst area. As soon as I see that, I know I'm going to lose that employee after 1 year time, because business analyst area is high demand job position. Right now he's in a different job position. So when you move to that area, you will develop that skill set. After 1 year, you might move out, so these are some of the guidance comes from these agents as well. So where to move, what are the high skill areas, so this you can't avoid. But what we have to do is actually understand that, have a good relationship with these people. Sometimes even when they go out, they will still work for you. Few hours, so till you find a job, so you have to come up with, you can't create a distance between these guys and your organization. You have to be with them, work with them. Sometimes they will give you some business. So yes, it's a common problem for me as well.
Allow me to welcome Dr. Rohantha to introduce our speaker for today's session. Doctor, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And today we have a very special guest, someone I have a lot of respect for. He's a director and CEO of hSenid Business Solutions PLC, People's HR Director of SLASCOM, ICT BPM Industry Association of Sri Lanka, and also the founder director of the Pioneer Institute of Business and Technology Private Limited. He also serves as a lecturer to many private and public sector universities, including the Postgraduate Institute of Management, University of Sri Davadrapura, University of Colombo, CIPM Open University of Sri Lanka, and the University of Greenwich in UK. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the director and CEO of hSenid Business Solutions PLC, Director SLASCOM, Mr. Sampath Jayasundara. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Hunter. Lovely introduction. Hope, can you all see my screen?
Yes, it's clear.
Very clear.
Yeah. So very timely topic, I would say, and thank you very much for inviting me to deliver this session. So our plan is maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes, we will go through some of the learning and my experience taking a local company to multiple regions, global regions. So we'll share some experience, how we did and what challenges we face. At the same time, common challenges with the current setup we all are in, especially as Sri Lankans, multiple challenges. So these challenges started so many years back, somewhere around 2019 with the Easter attack, Sunday attack, and then COVID-19, post-COVID, when everyone is getting ready to move. So again, we face financial crisis. So still yet to recover. So whole discussion today is riding the wave of uncertainty, how to do that, how to battle this, and how to come out of it. I think it's a very timely topic. That's what I told you. Before getting into detail, I'll quickly give you an introduction about the company, because I'm going to talk about some examples from the company. So it's my duty to introduce quickly about the organization. So we are hSenid Business Solution PLC. We listed our company in Colombo Stock Exchange 2021 December. We are the first software development company to be in CSC, Colombo Stock Exchange. That is a remarkable achievement for a software company. We expect like, a few more companies joining the group. I think like one on the way, like, so it will happen somewhere around June, July, August time frame, and few more to come, like, following us in this journey. So we are primarily focused on human resource application development space, that is HCM space, human capital management. Our global product called People's HR. People's HR is our product. It's a global brand now. So we serve right now around 1,500 customers as at 31st March 2023 results. So these customers cover like, different industry segments. Like, so we support around 20 different industries. Almost all industries available. It's not an industry specific product, even though like, we have good set of customers from few good industries. Yeah, so we serve over 1 million users at the moment, and companies now 25 years old organization. That's a high level snapshot. So if you look at the global presence, we are primarily into 2 regions. One is Asia Pacific, up to Australia, New Zealand. On the other hand, MEA region, that is Middle East and East African region. We have few West Africa as well, like, but primarily focus is on to East African region. So we are serving, as I told you earlier, more than 1 million user base in this 40 countries in covering 20 industries. That's high level snapshot of the company. Then I thought of giving a background to our industry. So like, because we are from software industry, so like, then you will understand the company and the industry a little bit more. And then like, we can get into a good discussion with that understanding. So we always believe that we have a hidden gem, and Sri Lanka is, in fact, like, we all love this country, like, and we want to develop this country. We want to be part of that development. So why I'm telling it's a hidden gem, like, because we have USD $5 billion opportunity within the industry. USD $5 billion opportunity within the industry. So obviously, like, this target is in a lot of challenges, and I will, during my other discussions, I'll elaborate some of these challenges further. Right now, what is our current situation? If you really look at, like, our current scenario, roughly as the industry, we have a little over 600 companies in different sizes. The 600 companies include large organizations, extra large, large, medium, and even smaller companies, like, even with 10 to 15 to 20 employee organization. And there's another category, startup. Startup category include another 500 plus organizations. So we consider a startup when they move to small category, like, as a IT industry company. But startup companies, there are a lot of startup companies are working on this space. So if you look at, like, 2021 records, export revenue, like, we managed to bring $1.8 billion revenue during that year, like, so right now, like, we can say we are close to around $2 billion industry. And if you look at direct workforce point of view, we have 115,000 direct employment. Of course, there's an indirect employment as well. This is as per SLASCOM records, like, right now, like, we have 115,000 direct workforce attached to the industry. So as a contribution point of view, we are contributing 10% of the total export in the country. So that's what we are doing at the moment. But as I told you, potential is extremely high. We all know, like, we all know about tourism industry. We all know about garment exports, foreign employment, but maybe tea exports, but very little knowledge available within general public about the IT industry and how IT industry is moving during last 10-20 years. We have seen this industry, like, in $300 million level up to now 1.8 billion level. So it's a matter of, like, moving from $1.8 billion to $5 billion over next 5-year period, 4 to 5-year period. This is the goal. If you look at industry point of view, this is the goal. What is this goal? We want to achieve both IT BPM sector, business process management, and IT sector together to achieve $5 billion revenue, export revenue. So this is a good number when you compare to GDP of Sri Lanka, like, and we can be very strong player in this context. And then, like, how can you increase this 115,000 direct employment to 200,000 plus highly skilled professionals? That is very important. Highly skilled professional, like, so we are not talking about like, low-end jobs. We are talking about like, professional, high-skilled employment of 200,000. Okay. So that's a interesting target. We all know, like, current challenges. I don't have to tell you, like, migration is one of the bigger challenge the whole industry is facing. Not only our industry, even other industries are facing the same challenge. So skill migration, like, this is one of the biggest problems. Now, even like, everyone is losing a good percentage. They are like, retention becomes a common problem for everyone. Okay, can't help. And the second target is actually build 1,000 startups. Build 1,000 startups. So these also very challenging target, like, how to build 1,000 startups. But we already, as SLASCOM level, we have started our, let's say, campaigns, let's say, working with universities, working with employees, working for different companies, like, giving them the awareness about startups. Like, we are building the startup ecosystem at the moment with multiple organizations. So if you build 1,000 startups, we believe 1 or 2 companies will end up with a $1 billion revenue. So that's the target. Okay. So why can't we achieve like, $1 billion revenue organizations? That is what is happening in India at the moment. They produce more than $1 billion companies every 9 days. Every 9 days. You can think about, like, the scale they are talking about. This is how India is moving forward. So why can't we, like, achieve that milestone, like, 1 or 2 companies to run at $1 billion plus revenue level? So that's a game plan. So we all can be happy if we can achieve that target. Same time, we want this IT BPM sector to be a green destination. So green destination means, you all know, there's a globally there's a interesting discussion going on ESG side. ESG means environment, social, and governance. There's a big focus on these 3 areas: environmental, how to protect our environment. Then, like, the social aspect, like, working with people, the social structure, work ethics, and there are many things in that category. And then the governance part, like, so even country like Sri Lanka, governance becoming very important concept, like, especially government sector and public sector, private sector, everywhere, like, how to build good governance. So, like, people can contribute to these 3 areas easily: the environmental, social aspect, as well as governance. So this is the focus. Okay. So Sri Lanka talent has the advantage is offering what? Creative solution to business problems. Now, if you compare 10 years back, Sri Lanka and India, we are primarily considered as a product development destination. Product development destination. India considered as service destination. Okay. India considered as service destination. But now India is converting to a product destination. If you really look at last 10 years, what is happening in India IT sector, there are quite a lot of interesting product companies are coming out. Product companies are coming out. So they have already reached, like, greater heights, like, $1 billion revenue level. So, like, but Sri Lanka from 1990s, you consider as a product development destination. Like, if you look at companies like Millennium IT came up with stock exchange product, then hSenid came up with HCM solution. IFS is developing a ERP product, enterprise resource planning solution. Likewise, there are many product companies working on this product space. So we can come up with very creative solution in the space of artificial intelligence, intelligent automation, machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain related, cybersecurity related. So these are some of the areas where our talents can work on. That is why I told you, like, we are not just looking at 200,000 workforce, but 200,000 skill workforce. Okay, skill workforce. So one of the critical challenge everyone is facing this uncertain time. is like, retaining our good talents as a country. Okay. So one of the challenge even like the industry and even my company face is retaining high skilled workforce. So the solution is like, now very difficult to retain, like people when they decide to mind to move out of the country and like, let's say migrate to Canada or Australia or UK or Scandinavian country, it's very difficult to change their mind. But one thing we can do is like, we can encourage them to go out and maybe like, support Sri Lanka. So like, when they join a company, sometimes they can even give us a business. So you have to release them in good faith, like, keeping a good relationship. So when they move out to a different country, they look at like, how best they can support your previous employer and the country. So at the same time, some of the guys can go out, get the right exposure, and they can come back and like, serve Sri Lanka. This is what happened in India. And you might have heard about this now, somewhere around 1990s. Many guys left India, so especially to US and to some other countries. And what happens like, during last 10, 12 years, like, 2010 onwards, there are a lot of migrant Indians, they came back and start their operation in India, start businesses, join high-end tech companies, and like, came to the leadership positions and start serving India. So that is how India is completely changing. So we can actually develop a similar rhythm in Sri Lanka as well, like, to encourage them to come back and work and serve the country. So that's important, like, because you can't do much on that. But same time, you have to think about like, how to fast track some of the new guys now. Earlier, like, let's say if you are using 6 months for training, how can you like, cut down that training time to 2 to 3 months? How can you develop like, very, very specific competencies within a short period of time? Okay. A simple example, the industry and companies are working together to come up with a program called Nano Degree Program, where Nano Degree Program, when you get a, let's say, after level student, can you develop basic skills for industry required within the first 9 months period while you are doing the degree. So degree first 9 months, you develop certain skill set, competencies, matches the industry requirement. So after 9 months, you can get into the industry, and then you can continue a degree program with whatever institution you are working on. So the advantage is actually when you look at that program, maybe like, after 9 months, you're joining the company. So you are a salaried employee, but you can do part-time degree as well. After 3 years, you may be a degree holder with 2+ years of experience and with a good salary, because you all know IT structure salaries are pretty high if you really look at compared to many other industries. So that's another way of like, facing this challenge. So the point here is challenges we can't avoid, like, so next year we might face maybe a new challenge. So how to face this challenge and grow? My organization point of view, if you really look at last 2 to 3 years, I think before COVID, we had around 220 employees. Just before COVID, like, now we have 370 employees. That means during last 3 years, despite of many challenges, we have grown up to this level, like, 370. Even our revenue lines during last 3 years might have doubled revenue. If you compare the current revenue, it's almost double or a little more than that. So that's how, like, we work with all these uncertainties, and that is interesting to work. How you have to be agile today. You have to be agile. It's very important to be agile, like, because otherwise you can't face these challenges. Sorry, we are talking about. I'll quickly touch upon, like, some of the demand jobs, not only in Sri Lanka, like, globally. This is from World Economic Forum reports. You can see, like, there are a lot of tech-related job positions are in high demand. Okay. So data analysts and scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, big data specialists, digital marketing and strategy specialists, like, these are very interesting roles. So even like, as MBA students, you can think about, because some of the positions you can easily move. Simple example, digital transformation specialist. So you have to have a understanding what you expect as digital transformation. So you don't have to be a very high-tech individual, but obviously you should understand what technology can deliver. What artificial intelligence can deliver, where to use chat GPT. You should know how to use IoT solution effectively within your business. So you should know how to use technology. At the same time, you should be able to transform the organization to realize business results through technology adoption. That is what is important to understand. Okay. So one thing is bringing the technology. Second part is converting the technology to business results. A lot of organizations are weak in second part. And a simple example, when you get the technology within to your organization, we tell them like, fashion stars. That means you are investing on technology, but you don't know how to convert that technology into business results. We call fashion stars. But some companies move to, we call it Digirati state. Digirati. Digirati means you bring the technology to your organization and convert that technology into business results as well. So you can be a specialist on that line. You can be a specialist on that line. Okay? Because any of these areas, you can't be so like, you have to be a specialist. Hope you understand the difference between cook and a chef. I don't know whether I can ask questions here. Hopefully, yes. Anyone would like to answer that question? If not, I'll continue. So hope you understand the difference between cook and a chef. Cook's job is in danger. Cook's job is in danger. But chef will have a good future. Why? Cook's job will replaced by machines. Very near future. Now we all know 3D food printing machines. 3D food printing machines, this comes under 3D printing category. So there are 3D food printing machines. So when food printing machines start printing food, why you need a cook to do that? But chef is doing a different thing. Chef is what? Chef is a designer. You will design new food items. You will come up with new food items. So the learning here is actually, today's world, you can't be a cook. You have to be a specialist, chef. Because now even if you fail to be a specialist, now look at the right-hand side of my slide. Job will decrease in demand. Now even financial analyst job is in demand. Relationship manager's job is in demand. Bank teller and related clerk's job is in demand. Why? Because these positions will replace by technology very soon. Human resource specialist job will move out. So why? Because technology will take over some of these jobs with AI support. So you have to be a specialist. You can be a financial advisor. That's a different ball game altogether. You can be a strategic advisor. So risk management specialist. So even though the top list include most of IT related, but even there are some specific jobs in each category will have high demand, especially general management skills. Lower level regular jobs will move out, but higher level common jobs like general manager positions and stuff like that, forget about the position, those competencies will have a higher demand. So that's the future. So if future is like this, and even your job is in danger, uncertainty becomes the reality. Uncertainty is very high. So you have to transform yourself. You have to transform yourself. You have to transform with knowledge. Knowledge, with skills, and with right attitudes. That is how you can move forward in highly uncertain world. That's important to understand. On the other hand, there are some jobs of the future. Obviously, general high demand digital skills are very, very critical in this whole scenario. Future jobs will require some of these skills. What are these skills? obviously digital fluency and citizenship. So that's the important area. Digital collaboration to digital ethics to digital literacy to digital learning. These are some of the important skill set to develop. Of course, software use and development. So if you're not a technical person, you might not be involved in the development space, but software use. So as a finance person, you should know how to use systems and data lakes to analyze data. So that is up to you, so you can't depend on another person. Today, you should be able to getting into a data lake, learning certain analytics tools, and do some data analytics. That is very important because today we call it D3M, data-driven decision making. So data-driven decisions will happen in all departments, whether you are a finance department person, HR department, production, or everywhere, you will use data-driven decisions. So for you to make data-driven decision, you should know how to extract that intelligence out, how to extract that forecast out of the system, how to extract that predictive analytics out of a system. So that is very critical skills for today's world. Obviously, that's part of understanding the digital systems as well. Okay, so in specific high demand digital skills, there are many. There are many: human-computer interaction, digital marketing, product marketing skills, the advertising in social media, SEO, software search engine optimization. So there are very critical jobs in demand. Obviously, entrepreneurship skill area also very, very important and high demand area. So when you look at soft skill also plays a major role. I'm talking about how to survive and grow. If you want to survive and grow as an individual, you have to develop certain skill set that is very, very critical. One is critical thinking, and then planning and doing something in an agile work environment. Obviously, communication, mental flexibility. So when you have the mental flexibility, your adaptability increases. Then, of course, interpersonal skills becoming very, very interesting and important. So the team effectiveness, teamwork, developing relationship, mobilizing systems. So those are very becoming critical competencies for you to develop as high demand skill set for any job. Technical skill set, at the same time soft skill, and self leadership again becoming very important. So how to, now simple example, now most of you in my organization are into hybrid environment. So hybrid environment, when you are working in a hybrid environment, self-discipline, self-leadership skills are must. I think it's very important to understand how to govern my day and get the maximum out of it. Then I might have a team. So how to in a remote work environment or hybrid environment, how to get the best out of them. Because if you're at office, you can closely work with them. Now simple example, we move to completely work from home soon after government declared COVID, that is 2020 March, mid-March 2020. So now we are in April 2023. That means last 3 years, our majority of workforce work from home. Now we are into hybrid environment. That is, we have given the option. So if you want to come to office, you can come to work. And if you want to work from home, especially developers, QA engineers and all, they can work from home. No issue. But only thing is, it's very critical self-management area. So to manage yourself and you deliver the workflow. So we have created that culture because that's very important to create that culture to give the right understanding and get the maximum out of them. So they will understand. This is my objective, and these are my roles and responsibilities. So I have to deliver these results during that week, during that month, during that quarter, so that self-management, self-discipline become very, very critical. So you're managing one area, within your control, because supervisor is not there in next room, for them to guide. Obvious then digital skills also becoming very critical. Whatever your space, you may be finance department person, HR department, or somewhere else, doesn't matter. You need some common skill set, digital skill set to operate in today's world. So these skills are very important for us to survive in this uncertain world. You all have heard, like, even recent, like, even Sri Lanka, like, how many job cuts happened during last 6 months. Global organizations like in US and many other parts of the world, how many people lost their jobs? Now look at, like, what areas people lost their jobs. Not very high skill area. Because if you are a specialist, company can't drop you or remove you, like, because company is depend on you. If you remove you, like, company is losing. So that is why I'm emphasizing, like, for you to be a chef rather than be a target to be a cook. You can say, like, let's say, I can remember, like, some time back, one of my uncles was studying, like, so I joined 35 years back and start my career as a clerk, like, I retire as a senior clerk, like, so what? Now technology world, like, they will not allow you to work 35 years as a clerk. So you have to change. So you have to develop that right skill set for your future. Otherwise, you become obsolete. Now, what is the world we are in? What is the world we are in? Hope you have heard about VUCA world. Many of you all have heard about VUCA world. So VUCA world, how to thrive during a VUCA world. That's what we did. How to thrive during a VUCA world. So VUCA means what? VUCA means highly volatile environment. V for volatility. U for uncertainty. C for complexity. A for ambiguity. So we are in a highly volatile, highly uncertain environment with higher complexity and ambiguity. So when you are working in a world like that, there are many challenges. There are many challenges. So companies are not ready to face that challenge. Companies working with, like, long-term business plans, let's say 5-year master plan, like, might have to relook at their design. That is where, like, concepts like design thinking matters. How to rethink, how to adapt to the world-changing environment, how to manage with people. That is very interesting. And today, actually, beyond VUCA world, we are talking about a new concept called Barney. So now we are in a Barney world. So what do you mean by this Barney world? So we say, like, VUCA world to Barney world. So Barney world, we say, like, brittle. What do you mean by that? Hardened. Sometimes organizations are hard to break, but liable to break easily, like, given circumstances. Sometimes big giants can collapse within a short period of time. Sometimes you never expected that company to bankrupt, but that can happen. Even though they're hard, like, strong. That is brittle. Then anxious. Anxiety is a growing trend. Like, if you really look at most present symptoms today is what? Anxiety. It's very interesting. Anxiety with people in your personal life, with financial pressure, work pressure, uncertainty pressure, you develop anxiety. Not only, like, even job market anxiety is there now. Anxiety is within industries now. So we are in that sort of a world. And obvious non-linear. Non-linear. Even some of the events seems disconnected. Very difficult, like, look at some of the figures and predict the future. That is not possible. So we are like little bit of disconnected. Little bit of disconnected. We can't say, these companies are very good performing organization, will keep on performing for next 5 years. Very difficult to say that. Misunderstanding is a very common symptoms here. So these are common problems, like, when you look at. So longer term plans might not work in this world. Because of that, it is very incomprehensible. Okay. So very difficult to get into a common understanding. Misunderstanding is everywhere. So answers don't make sense for some of the questions. People are struggling. So with that, now we are talking about VUCA world to Barney world. When you move from VUCA world to Barney world, company point of view, what you should do. So we also took some measures in our development journey to fight against this. Because these are common symptoms for any organization, common issues for any organization in that sense. Ours, the challenge is actually we are in a technology world, very fast moving, changing world. Okay, so that is more challenging to adapt and grow. Obviously, like, in this kind of a world, you have to adapt and grow. So what you have to do? You have to build team strengths. That is very important. You have to look at what skill set your organization, future organization require. You have to build teams around that. You have to build teams around that. That is very, very important. At the same time, like, you have to create a culture of collaboration because people are working from different locations. Business might operate from different part of the world. Okay, so you have to build like, culture of collaboration in this whole game. That is important. Okay. At the same time, obviously, you have to build the resilient workforce, resilient organization. So still you will, with all these challenges, you still like, make sure organization is moving. Your wheels are moving towards your goal. That's also very critical and important. And you have to fight against anxiety because you can't just ignore, we are doing well, we have created the teams. Because of that, people won't get anxiety. No, like that's a common symptom. So like people will get it. So how to fight against that? So you have to do it. No choice. So you have a mechanism to combat this. That's very interesting game. And most importantly, you have to develop as organization project management skills. So because now, if you really look at most of organization, global organization now, there are different organization initiatives, they run as projects. Because projects are with definite start date, definite end date, with certain objectives in mind. You're carrying out certain set of activities with certain set of resources. So it's easy to understand in shorter term, like, okay, this is what you have to achieve. This is what you have to deliver. These are the objectives you have to achieve. So as an organization, it's important to build project management skills for you to operate in this world. And further, agility. You have to be agile. Okay, you have to develop agility in the whole game. So these are some of the things we did within the organization to move forward strongly. Simple example, like during this COVID period, we developed our Bangladesh business outside Sri Lanka. So our entire Bangladesh business we developed during last 3 years during COVID period. So we managed to acquire customers. We managed to deliver some of the critical projects. We managed to start a development center in Dhaka, Bangladesh. So we are now fully-fledged office in Bangladesh. So we managed to start our Philippine operation during this period. Now this Philippine operation is one of the fastest growing operation in the APAC region. So these things we managed to do during this period, during this uncertain period. At the same time, you will not believe this, like, we got this government of Uganda automation project during COVID time, just before COVID. I make my visit like somewhere around 2019 October, just before COVID. So my team went on site November 2019. So they got stuck on site, like, so in a country where like, a lot of people are not aware about like, health industry, like, the private health industry. So they're very much concerned. So we managed to work within this uncertain environment and managed to complete that project successfully on time during COVID time. This is actually not just like, one company implementation, government of Uganda, complete government sector HR automation project with covering 400,000 workforce and 300 government organizations. So it's not that easy. So that is because we build some of these internal competencies to drive the organization. During that time, we list our company in Colombo Stock Exchange as well. That's another like, a big achievement for a software company, being the first software company to list in CSE. So these some of the skills I told you help us to move forward very strongly. That can create big impact to your company and to your industry and to your country as well. Now, if you look at if you look at what are some of the industries we can develop this country, IT is one, as I told you earlier. Tourism can be another one. Agriculture with tech support can be another opportunity if you really look at it. Likewise, we can select few areas. So once you select these few areas, obviously still we are in the Barney world, not only Sri Lanka, entire world is in the Barney world. So how to come out of this Barney world and let's say address some of these critical challenges. So as I told you, agility is very important. Combat against anxiety is very important. Develop project management skills and work organization initiatives as projects. That becomes important. Bring agility to your organization and to people. Develop some specific skill set, what is the organization future required. Have a proper plan for learning and development of people within a short period of time. So if you initiate some of these things within your organizations, despite of your industry, and you should be able to move your industry forward. So I think we are in a very interesting period, coming out of COVID, just trying to come out of our financial crisis. Still not there, but we are heading towards that. At least during next 3-4 years, we might have to struggle a little bit, but we have to focus to come out of that by developing some of these industries I talked about. So can do, but as an individual, you develop some industries. I always believe people now when people are down or when the environment is not good, whether it's because of COVID or it's a Sunday attack or any other financial crisis or any other, because future is uncertain, so anything can happen next year. So I categorize people into 2 categories. One set of people, they're warriors. They're warriors, big warriors. So they will actually go through newspapers and go through morning news reading, go through social media, go through WhatsApp chains. There are many WhatsApp chains today. So read the same message again and again and again and again. All are negative messages, and you become a big warrior. Second category, I would say action-oriented set of people. They know that news, so they know what is happening, what is going on. But if things are beyond our control, certain things we can't do anything. So these action-oriented guys will start working on actions. They'll come up with course corrections. They'll come up with changes to your business plan. Because today you can't work on 5-year business plan anymore. You can work on a 5-year business plan, how to break it into quarters and work on it. So you have a visibility, very clear visibility to drive the whole overall plan. So action-oriented people like that. So you get into real actions. You will work on developing objectives. You will work on developing strategies to execute these objectives, achieve these objectives. You will work on measurements, how to measure these objectives, and you will work on 3W action plans to execute the strategy. So that is action-oriented people. So my recommendation is for you to be an action-oriented person rather than be a warrior. Because no point of being a warrior, because we all are worried about the situation. So you can't be a warrior for a longer period, so we understand the situation. We understand we are in a Barney world. So no control over certain situations, but things within our control. So how are we going to do that? So that's a whole game plan. So that's all I have planned to cover, so we can get into a question and answer. Is that okay, Dr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Sampath. Fantastic. I was taking down notes for myself from what you were sharing. So heaps of questions coming in. I'm going to just focus on a few of them because we normally lock off by sharp around 5. So
Okay.
The first question that is coming is that Lovely meeting you, Mr. Alves. I think they are referring to you, Mr. Jayasundara. And we would like to know what is your interpretation of how Sri Lanka is handling the Barney world as a nation?
Very good question. I would say, like, we need some course corrections, immediate course corrections, like, let's say changing people's mind. Because you all know, like, we all know corruption is everywhere, like, in Sri Lanka. So our growth journey will hinder because of that. So I think, like, government level or whoever policy level, we might have to take some very strict measures to eliminate this, or like, future potential corruptions. Like, we have to do something that is very, very critical. Okay. Obviously, if we do right things, we should be able to get the right support. That is what I'm believing. Like, so whether it's World Bank, IMF, or other communities like Japan or whoever will support us if you are moving ahead with right things. So that's very important. So I think, like, as I told you earlier, migration is a common problem, very difficult to manage that. But same time, we have to understand that will open up new opportunities to another set of people. Okay. Why can't you, like, a simple example? I'll give you a simple example. I asked my workforce is remote workforce. I went to Mathura to meet my team. You not believe 27 people from Gold and Mathura. So I didn't ask them to come to Colombo. I went to Mathura and organized an evening session, like, with dinner. So I got into a good discussion with them. So one thing I asked, why can't you, like, let's say now, if I'm in Deniai or somewhere, why can't I find good set of 10 people around that area and come up with a small development center there? So we will fund it. So you look at, like, people around that area. So you are there as a company representative. So you can train them, you can guide them. I also can send people from Colombo to that location time to time, like, because for them it can be even a trip. So they will enjoy going there, doing a workshop, a 2-day workshop, and, like, sharing some thoughts, coming back. So you have to think differently. My recommendation is actually, yes, of course, government should work really hard on setting the right policies, path for people to operate. But same time, as individuals, we all have an individual responsibility, working towards betterment of the country, whatever way possible, I would say, despite of the industry you are in.
Sampath, second question coming out from UAE. She's Rebecca. She's an MBA student from Staffordshire University studying from UAE. And she's asking, are you, Mr. Sampath, could you kindly let us know what is your interpretation of the brain drain happening, and does this, is this happening in your company at hSenid?
Yes, this is a common problem everywhere. It's happening. If you look at the current labor turnover rate, or the skill turnover rate, is actually, I would say, 3 times higher than a usual rate, or at least double. Any company, like, in IT industry, not only IT industry, even banking industry and many high skill industries, this is happening. So this you can't avoid in short term, because people have already applied for migration visa or in the process of applying. Now, simple example, like, today I got requisition in our recruitment portal, like, one employee want to move into business analyst area. As soon as I see that, I know, like, I'm going to lose that employee after 1 year time, because business analyst area is high demand job position. Right now, he is in a different job position. So, like, when you move to that area, you will develop that skill set. After 1 year, you might move out, like, so these are some of the guidance comes from these agents as well. So where to move, what are the high skill areas, like, so this you can't avoid. But what we have to do is actually understand that, have a good relationship with these people. Sometimes even when they go out, they will still work for you. Few hours, so, like, till you find a job, like, so you have to come up with, you can't create a distance between these guys and your organization. You have to be with them, work with them. Sometimes they will give you some business. So yes, it's a common problem for me as well.
Good question coming. He's Charit, who works at INSEAD in Singapore. Again, an MBA student from Apitan, from Staffordshire University. And he's saying, do you see ChatGPT as a threat or as an enabler?
I would say it's an enabler, because we have to think about how to use it to benefit us. Like, because when one tool is out, obviously we'll see another tool coming very pretty soon, like, from Google. And then when the competition is high, we have to develop internal competencies, how to use, because one of the individual skill I mentioned earlier as digital skill set. So sometimes business people, you might, there's no requirement you to understand the technology, how to do software development work, but how to use these tools. Now, even as soon as I realized that GPT is out, I actually start working on it just to see how it is working. So when you have that understanding, then you can invest further. So I'm planning to run a hackathon within the organization, allowing people how to use ChatGPT. So they will come up with innovative solution around that.
Last question, Sampath.
Yeah.
I mean, you're one of the most respected people in the IT industry, who also takes time to talk to youngsters in the universities like Colombo and PIM and 3J and all that. What is your honest opinion for a youngster of today?
A good question, Dr. Hunter. I'm always, and thank you very much for that appreciation as well. My question is, so when there are challenges, if you invest in that challenging time, you can come out strongly. If you now, if you leave to Australia or any other country, it's so easy to get a visa and move out. That's not a problem. So I feel you're escaping from an opportunity, or because young guys have so much energy. This Sri Lanka, look at our elderly population. Now, who is there to look after our parents, our neighborhood? So my opinion is, young guys with a lot of energy, you should invest that energy. I know, maybe sometimes your earning might, you can't get it here, as how much you're going to earn in Australia or Canada or some other country. But these are sacrifices we have to do, with a purpose in mind. So develop a purpose in mind and build some empathy. Not only us, how many people can migrate if we really look at it? As a population, we are 21 million plus population. Out of that population, how many people can leave? Assume all skilled doctors leave the country. Who's there to treat our patients, our poor elderly population? So I think this is the time to build empathy. And that is why we are here. We can easily go to the country and at least stay. So we are not doing that, because we love this country and we are a community. So I think my advice for them, yes, if you really want to go out short term, learn degree and come back, so even my kids might go for a degree education, but my advice for them is, so you learn, maybe work for a couple of years and come back and serve this country. So that is my message. So I'm encouraging them to go out, learn, get the exposure, come back and serve this country.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Sampath Jayasundara, one of the top CEOs in the IT BPO industry. He heads hSenid. Ruth, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter. Mr. Sampath, I must really thank you. I was listening all throughout and also making my own notes. You have beautifully delivered this session. A very clear, very sensible and enlightening knowledge that you have shared across. And we always say this, not everything can be learned in textbooks. So today you have, you are a valuable contribution to the MBA program and the students, not just the students, also anyone in our audience today. So with this, my humble gratitude and thank you for, putting out the time. I know you're a very busy person, but you've, put out some time in your schedule to be with us. So with this, I would also like to thank our technical team for the IT support during this session, our alumni, our students, our industry partners, and all well-wishers who have joined in. Please do bear in mind that at APIT, we have an intensive internship program. And if at all you have any internship opportunities or job placement, just send it across to us as well and keep us in mind. Wonderful. So we have truly come to the end of this wonderful session. I would like to thank each and every one of you who has joined in, both here in Sri Lanka and across the world. I would like to wish you all a good day, a good evening, and a good night. Till the next session, take care.